OMG, Chloe, you have to get over here. The story my friend from Korea told me this time is insane. This isn't just a crime story, it's giving psychological thriller a deep dive into a broken mind. No cap. The story starts in 2014 on a drizzly morning at a small local police station in the countryside. There's this veteran detective, let's call him Park Jin-sung, an alias, and he's totally burnt out. He's sipping on one of those instant coffee sticks, the kind, the 3-in-1 with the sugar and creamer already in it. It's like a staple there. Just counting the days to retirement. That's when the station door slides open. A man is standing there, soaked in rain, looking like a total ghost. His name is Jung-se-hoo, an alias. He's clutching this old, worn-out plastic bag like it's the most precious thing in the world. He drips water all over the floor as he walks in and whispers in this voice that sounds like it's from another world. I killed someone. Just then, another cop scoffs and says, Jin-sung, don't waste your time. Yesterday, that guy came in saying he assassinated the president. But Detective Park, for some reason, saw something in Jung-se-hoo's empty eyes that day. A deep, dark abyss he'd never seen before. That one hollow phrase from Jung-se-hoo instantly brought back a nightmare of a case file for Detective Park. The Mudo Mountain Hut murder from 2 years ago. It was the summer of 2012. In the boiling heat, a 70-year-old man was found dead in his rustic hut deep in a remote mountain. The weird part? He was found covered up to his neck in a thick winter blanket. When the person who found him pulled the blanket back, underneath was a sight you just can't unsee. The old man's face had been beaten so badly with a blunt object, it was unrecognizable. My friend said the air in that hut was this horrible mix of old food, damp wood, and a metallic smell that stuck to the back of your throat. The killer? A ghost. Left no fingerprints, no hair, nothing. The murder weapon was gone. The only clue was a tiny bloodstain on the bottom of the door frame, which suggested the killer attacked him outside and dragged him in. But even that was useless, because that night, it had rained like the sky was trying to wash away all the evidence for the killer. The rain was the perfect accomplice. The next day, Detective Park takes Jung-se-hoo up to that mountain. He says, "Show me the way." He's still half doubting him, but Jung-se-hoo, he just walks into the forest without hesitation, like he was just there yesterday. And he stops at the exact spot where the hut used to be, now just an overgrown clearing. This is the place. He started describing that day, staring into space like he was re-watching an old movie. I brought a baseball bat. I hit him in the yard. He fell down. So I dragged him inside the room. I thought he might be cold, so I covered him with the blanket. Chloe, this is where it gets wild. The fact that the attack started in the yard and that the killer covered the body with a blanket, that was information never released to the public. Only the cops and the killer knew. Detective Park felt a chill run down his spine. The map in his memory led straight to the crime scene. On the drive back from the mountain, just as Detective Park was trained to process all this, Jung-se-hoo whispered again from the back seat, "Detective, I killed someone else." "What did you say?" Park slammed the car to a stop on the shoulder. 2 months before the old man in the hut, the grandma who lived behind my house. A serial killer? Detective Park felt the blood run cold in his veins. He rushed back to the station and searched every single file, but there was nothing. No murdered old woman in that area at that time. His colleague just laughed at him. "See what I told you? The guy's nuts. Now he's cosplaying as a serial killer." But Detective Park couldn't forget Jung-se-hoo's empty eyes. Those weren't the eyes of a liar. They were the eyes of someone who had seen a real hell. Detective Park didn't give up. After 3 months of obsessive digging, he finally found the second victim. And she wasn't dead. She was lying in a hospital bed, in a coma. Detective Park was even more shocked when he checked the nurse's records. The date she had a fall at home and hit her head was the exact day Jung Se-hoo claimed to have murdered her. This is a freaking paradox, right? He confessed he killed her, but she was alive. He said he attacked her, but it was reported as an accident. Jung Se-hoo gave a detailed statement. I hit her on the head with an aluminum baseball bat while she was washing dishes in her kitchen. I got scared when she fell, so I ran away. But again, zero physical evidence. Not a single baseball bat was ever found at his house. Not a single drop of blood on any of his clothes. The truth was just twisting itself into a weird, impossible knot. With no physical evidence, the arrest warrant for Jung Se-hoo was denied. Detective Park was devastated. His colleagues were mocking him, and the man who confessed to 2 murders was walking free. In a last-ditch effort, he opened the file for the first murder again, the old man in the hut. He reread a line from Jung Se-hoo's statement. It wasn't raining when I committed the act. It started raining after I was done. The rain. The rain that had washed away all the evidence. On a hunch, Park ran to the meteorological agency. He requested the hourly precipitation records for that rural village on that specific night 2 years ago. And as he looked at the data on the monitor, he started to tremble. The records were a perfect match. It had stopped raining in the early evening, stayed dry during the estimated time of the murder, and then a downpour started again in the early morning. Jung Se-hoo's memory was more accurate than a weather report. The rain, which had been the killer's accomplice, had just become the star witness for the prosecution. A few months later, the grandma in the hospital passed away. This was the last chance. Detective Park went to the funeral home, got on his knees, and convinced the grieving family to agree to an autopsy. And finally, the last piece of the puzzle fell into place. The autopsy result was a chilling match to Jung Se-hoo's confession. The cause of death was complications from a severe head injury caused by a blunt object. It wasn't an accidental fall. It was an attack. His confession wasn't a delusion. It was the truth. With this definitive evidence, Jung Se-hoo was finally arrested and sentenced to 20 years in prison. During the trial, the bizarre motive was revealed. He was suffering from a severe mental illness that made him unable to distinguish reality from delusion. He was trapped in this terrible fantasy that if I kill someone, my miserable life will become successful. But when that didn't work and his life only got worse, he came up with a new fantasy. If I confess and solve my sins with the police, maybe my twisted life will finally get better. His confession wasn't out of guilt. It was just another sad scream from a soul lost in its own labyrinth of madness. If Detective Park had ignored that scream that day, 2 perfect crimes would have been buried in darkness. Seriously, isn't that tragic?